Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, it's been a while since I've done a video relating to the Durrani litigation. And the reason why is because I feel like I got a keen sense of, you've heard enough, about it. And, I don't want to overdo it. It's like enough already, Eric. Okay, we know about the case. But there's certain times and certain events where I think you would definitely understand that it's worth me mentioning again. And unfortunately, one of those times is when a Durrani victim passes away. We are almost, I don't know what the total count is, but out of the 580 victims of Dr. Durrani that Deters Law represented, I think we're close to 100 now who have passed away. And this one is Michelle Keplinger. And we're going to put her photograph up there. It's this wonderful woman. And this woman had 3 Durrani surgeries, 2 at Christ Hospital and 1 at Westchester. The radiographs were totally misrepresented by Durrani. That was his main thing. He would tell you that you had mild stenosis severe stenosis when you had mild stenosis. There was no conservative therapy, go straight to the knife. There's missing records all over the place, including no consent form. He placed in her during these surgeries something called BMP2, bone morphogenic protein, and Purgen. Both of those increased the risk of cancer. And every one of our clients, not my clients anymore, these clients, I'm their victims advocate, every one of them that had Purgen has had throat and swallowing issues. And it's just sad. By the way, Purgen was stopped being used. BMP2 still gets used. Her hardware failed. She had a post-op infection based upon her pre-op condition. She should have never even had the spine surgery. The dictation of the operative reports, which was a common thing, was late. And the surgical screws almost went into her aorta. So that's her case. And her case will not go to trial with her present. It'll now have to be children and whatnot that take her case forward. This story began in earnest. We had some cases like 2009, but in 2013 is when it really hit the fan. Durrani was charged. Durrani fled the country. The litigation goes on against Medical Protective, his insurance company, and there is a current federal case going forth for fraud that Medical Protective committed upon these victims. It is a massive, massive case. In my opinion, this case ought to go to trial in early 2024 in federal court. And I think it will be the biggest verdict, or one of the biggest verdicts ever rendered against an insurance company. The story is unbelievable. What Medical Protective tried to do to these people, and it's cruel. It's cruel. What they did is, rather than settle these cases early on, all the way back to 2013, just to let you know, there's 400 people who would qualify to a recovery under that policy. That's an average of $100,000. The jury verdicts are coming in at an average of $1 million. And what's covered under insurance in Ohio law is probably averaging about $500,000. It costs them $100,000 plus to defend the cases. We win 80% of the cases. That is the numerical facts. And despite those numerical facts, to be cruel and mean to these victims, what do? Not make a single offer on a single case. And their quote unquote global offer, their one global offer, is so low, you would be like, wow. And it has been without any shadow of a doubt, this great struggle between good versus evil. I have been, during this process, maligned by my enemies, maligned by the court system, maligned by the judges. And the only reason why I have been is because I have laid it all on the line for these victims. I went completely up till 2018, 2019, before these settlements with a couple hospitals, I shoved every asset that I had on the table, went upside down in debt unbelievably, and survived it all. I had people tell me I should have walked away in 2018, 2019. I refuse to have sold out these people. And I have shoved all the money that I got from those settlements back on the table. Shoved it all back on the table, fighting for these people through COVID. The team that I've assembled is extraordinary. A team of lawyers, healthcare professionals, and experts who are all committed to these people. I told my wife that I wouldn't mortgage our house. I mortgaged our house. I will do anything and everything to get these people justice. And Medical Protective makes $2.5 billion a year in healthcare premiums. They are owned by Berkshire Hathaway, who is Warren Buffett. Last year, Warren Buffett gave away to charity $4 billion. But Warren Buffett's company, Medical Protective, can't give these people, over a 10-year period, $40 million, $100,000 a person. Now, they've actually did us a favor in a weird way. Why? Well, because they didn't pay these folks their $100,000. An economic expert is going to testify that that $40 million is worth $80 million today. These people are going to be able to testify that they got their surgery in like 2009, 2010, filed their lawsuit in 2013, go to trial, they win their trial, they appeal, they still haven't been paid. I mean, it's incredible. A jury that hears this case is going to be going, now here's the fraud. The fraud is they manufactured a lack of cooperation defense under their policy, where they say this: hey, because Durrani didn't cooperate and come into trial and defending these cases, and he fled to Pakistan, we don't have to pay under the policies. You ready for this? We asked for deposition of Durrani 2013. By the way, we took depositions of him by Zoom in Pakistan. We asked in 2014. We were told, nah, he doesn't want to do it. We can't get a hold of him, don't want to do it. 2014, we can't get a hold of him, or he doesn't want to do it. 2015, we can't get a hold of him, or he doesn't want to do it. 2016, we can't get a hold of him, doesn't want to do it. 2017, we can't get a hold of him, don't do it. 2018, the defense lawyers got scared because Judge Barrett and a Judge Sargis said they were thinking about issuing some sanctions. So they offered him up for a deposition. During his deposition, do you know what Dr. Durrani says? I've always wanted to defend these cases. The lawyers, paid by Medical Protective, lied year after year after year after year. You ready for this? When Durrani was asked, did you receive the notices of deposition? His lawyer told him, don't answer the question. Even Judge Schweikert, my immortal enemy, who put me in jail for calling him an evil, for not giving these people a trial. Even Judge Schweikert looked at Mike Lyon and said, Mike, are you asking him that for his benefit or yours? And there is a lawsuit against Mike Lyon for some of his conduct in this case. Folks, I don't know what you've heard. I don't know what you might think you know. This is the most extraordinary David versus Goliath law story in the history of this country. The Aaron Brockovich story is nothing compared to this. I'm being serious. You see these hundreds of millions of dollars settlements, when somebody sexually touches somebody, anything else. These people had unnecessary spine surgeries. And Medical Protective has refused to pay purely out of cruelty. Cruelty. And it's sick. Now, the story, which I told in The Butcher of Pakistan, and there's going to be a sequel. Sequel's going to be as crazy as the story. The story involves what Durrani did. It involves the legal battle, which has been unbelievable, and my personal battle. These clients love me. They've been loyal and supportive of me through all the hell that I went through because I was fighting for them. The other side, the largest law firms in Cincinnati, the Ohio Disciplinary Council, the Kentucky Bar Association, Maureen O'Connor, the Chief Justice of the Ohio Supreme Court, the largest employers in Cincinnati, these hospitals, Children's, who let Durrani, for money, you ready for this? Do surgeries on kids at Children's Hospital. It gets even worse. You ready for this one? They canned his ass in August of 2008. Didn't tell anybody why they canned him. Unnecessary surgeries. They let him keep working there through 2008. After he left in 2009, January 1st, 2009, he still did surgeries through March. They never told, Children's Hospital never told a single person in the public, we had to get rid of this guy who was doing unnecessary surgeries. So I have battled the most powerful forces that you can battle in law, and I'm still standing. The Kentucky Enquirer, the Courier Journal, the Lexington Herald Leader, the Channel 5, 9, 12, 19 in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Tribune and Link. When I published the book and it came out in June a year ago, not one did a story about this book. 300 people showed up at the book release. Not one story about it. Because they're all bought and paid for. Do you know what it's like? Some of you may know. To be persecuted unfairly, called names. You're called crazy. You're called deranged. You're called racist. You're called homophobic. All these things that your enemies call you. Thomas Massey, his little nasty Masseys, the Democrats, the media. By the way, the media covered anything. My battle with Corey Lewandowski, the thing with my nephew, all that stuff. They cover all that stuff. But they can't cover this story. Couldn't cover this story. And what's wild about it is they don't know how to deal with somebody who is a Trump supporter and a Republican who fights for the little guy like a liberal Democratic lawyer. They don't know how to deal with that. They hate Trump so bad that they blackball me for that despite this. If another lawyer did this, Al Gerhardtstein, who's retired, if this was his story, oh my God, it'd be all over the place. But not me. And my social media friends have followed it, so they get it. The Durrani victims have followed, so they get it. And, I've told these people, I said, I will be bankrupt and living in a barn. By the way, we're never going to quit. We're never going to give up. So Medical Protective just totally miscalculated. Like, what are we going to do? Drop the cases? Really? And the anecdotes and stories around this are so amazing. One just popped in my head that I thought I'd share with you that summarizes how evil lawyers are. When I was battling suspension in 2012 and 2013, when I was retiring, I was representing myself, but Larry Forgy, the late, great Larry Forgy, was helping me too. A lawyer who was the Northern Kentucky ethics hotline expert for lawyers contacted Larry Forgy and said, hey, Larry, Eric gets suspended. Can you help me get all those Durrani cases? The legal profession. So I've promised them that I would never, ever stop. I would never quit. Oh, by the way, there is a New York Times freelance reporter. His name is Danny Solino, who I've spoke to at length. And he's apparently working on a series for the New York Times. It's not been published yet. I know, unfortunately, sometimes things get bumped or whatnot. I mean, this isn't like a story that has to be told yet. So maybe that'll get it some national press because, just let you know, the national news media has gotten this and they haven't done anything with it yet. I started a documentary, but I didn't finish it because I need the money for the litigation because it's not over. And we've shopped it in Hollywood, nothing yet. I can tell you right now, somebody, Netflix, HBO Max, whatever, somebody is going to make a fortune one day and have the #1 best-selling documentary, movie, or TV. If I had to pick, I'd make it a TV series based upon a true story because you could have 5 seasons of this stuff. And it would be like another Breaking Bad. All true, though. There's so much stuff I left out of the book. I mean, some great stuff. I can't tell it till the case is over. There's stuff that's going on now that's unbelievable. And you ready for this? We have videotaped and photographed the whole decade. Behind the scenes. Me yelling, me crying, me begging, me pleading, me fighting, me thinking, me outsmarting them, me maneuvering, ducking, dipping, and these people suffering every day from an unnecessary spine surgery on their neck and back. And Medical Protective doesn't give a damn. Berkshire Hathaway doesn't give a damn. Warren Buffett doesn't give a damn. Remember, I flew Chuck Holbrook out to Omaha to deliver a book. The large hospitals don't give a damn. The news media doesn't give a damn. The national news media doesn't give a damn. I give a damn about these people. I give a damn. And I tell them, I've been telling them for 10 years, it's kind of like an ongoing joke. Hang in there. After 10 years, the discovery in that fraud case will be over in October. There's no way, based on what I know, that the other side would get what's called summary judgment. It's going to have to be decided by a jury. And we're going to have a glorious ending. A glorious, glorious ending. It'll be the largest verdict ever rendered in these parts. And then we're going to get these folks some real justice. So, when you hear people dog me, you dog me, check out the Butcher Pakistan. You know what I told Kentucky voters, and I was a newcomer to state politics. You know what I told them? And the people that did it said, you got my vote. I said, if everybody in Kentucky reads the prologue, I'd be elected governor. If everybody reads the prologue, I'll be elected to Congress. If everybody reads that prologue, I'd be elected to the United States Senate. If everybody read that prologue, I could be elected president of the United States. You talk about suppression, folks. They don't want the Eric Deters, quote-unquote, heroic story to leave Independence, Kentucky. It's going to happen one day, though. Poor Michelle Keplinger. You know what it does when you know these people? Donna Richter died the day after a office meeting that I hugged her. She died the next day. Chuck Holbrook and I have gone and laid in hospital beds next to these victims. Favor. All of you tonight, when you hit your knees, say a prayer for the Durrani victims. Thank you.